Good morning, everyone. Today is April the 26th, 2021. This is StockCast, your pre-market show. My name is James Mason. With me is Todd Derby. Todd, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for asking. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. So to start off pre-market, Dow futures are currently up 56 points. S&P 500 is flat. Literally at zero when I said that. All right, so we currently still have light volume pre-market, but we do have a few things popping out this morning. And let's go ahead and get into it with ticker BWAY. All right, so this ticker right here, BWAY, they released news this morning that they got FDA clearance for one of their protocols dealing with major depression disorder treatment. So this one will be worth watching, in my opinion. Let's hit some fundamentals really quick. Last update on the short interest. Pretty much next to nothing being shorted, only 38,000 shares. I'm sure they probably already covered by now. And the shares outstanding. So this is what really attracts me to this stock. I'm not in this. I'm just going to watch it for the time being. But its shares outstanding are 16.5 million, and this float 8.8 million. Now, with that news and the FDA clearance, that is pretty significant. And it's actually quite surprising that this thing didn't run higher and a lot harder. So what I am going to look for here is this thing to break above pre-market highs. I want to see it break above 985 before I would consider taking an entry here. And I'm actually going to look to see if it's going to test this over possibly today. I don't know. But I would like for this to turn into a swing trade where it would test these highs right here above 11 and just keep pushing up. Overall target price with this being such a low float and the FDA clearance, I'm going to have to say overall target price is going to be probably breaking all-time highs some point in the future. But again, this is the stock market. There's not too many gappers pre-market today, and the bears are going to be looking for something to short. So that is kind of the only thing that I'm concerned about. But overall, the way I'm going to approach this one is by just keeping a smaller position size. That way, if it does get beat down by the bears today, I won't be in over my head. I'll just let it run its course and then wait for it to break it back above 985 again. And then that's when I'll really start loading in at that point and then letting it run. So overall, I'm going to look for it to trend and create all-time highs. So it's kind of hard to predict where this thing could go, in my opinion. But you have that strong FDA catalyst, that tiny share structure, and those two combinations right there sets it up for really a perfect picture and making a strong bullish run. So this is ticker BWAY. All right, Todd. Let's see. You had one that you wanted to talk about today, Todd, didn't you?
CYCN.
Ticker
CYCN. I'm in this one. I've been in it for a while. I first alerted it at $2.85. I averaged down a couple times. My average price is $2.65. And then tomorrow morning and Thursday, they're releasing news. Tomorrow morning, they're doing a conference call, a corporate conference call from their Chief Operating Officer, Cheryl Galt. And she's going to give an update. And then they're doing a presentation on Thursday, releasing their data from some trials they've been running. And
Okay.
that data will move into getting them to an FDA meeting coming up. So You look at the chart, you can give the chart news on it, but it's something that it's from 240 to 250 when it's averaged in. It's now hit a high today of 325, and it's getting close to my selling zone. So this is probably one that's probably going to pop here the next day or so.
Okay. And you said your selling zone was what again?
Starting at 350.
Starting at 350. Okay. So your selling zone starting at 350. I'm gonna say I'm gonna give what I feel would be like a conservative top range right around 423. All right, so between 350 and 423. Well, I'll just put that 349. All right. So your average is 265, you said?
Yes.
All right, so the pink line right there. So that's a phenomenal average, by the way. You can see that line going across. And here we are, this little dash line, pre-market. And our pre-market highs are 325. Let me put a line here. We'll just make that line white. All right. So Todd's average, 265. This little dash line, you may not be able to see it. We're currently at 306 pre-market, but it hit a pre-market high at 325, which is that white line. And that selling zone will be in between 350 on up to 423. It's just to give a general range. Obviously, you guys need to do your own due diligence because this thing, you just never know. It may never go up and hit 350. It may blow above 423. So, again, please do your own due diligence, but this should give you a means to help you out and speed that up. Now, this kind of goes back into the old saying of, was it buy the rumors, sell the news? And we had a PDUFA date catalyst for some alert not too long ago that running up to the release of the news, I mean, it was really pushing up. And then when the news happened, it pulled back.
Talking about FBIO?
Yes. Yeah.
So did a little digging on that, and I probably should have shared this. But so right now, currently, we're sitting without an FDA commissioner, and there's several dates and several news catalysts that have been delayed because the FDA doesn't have anyone at the helm running the ship. So, which you could play into, well, there's no bad news. So for some reason they're sitting on their hands, and hopefully that's going to be taken care of before the end of the month. But not having someone in as the commissioner of the FDA has been allegedly one of the issues that's going on over there.
Okay. But I mean, even before that, we saw that run up to that planned announcement, and that was a perfect example of that common saying. So yeah guys.
They still have FBIO and ATXI. They're linked together in the same drug approval. They still haven't released good news or bad news on them.
Okay.
They're still waiting. So that still could have a pop, but I am completely out of both those positions and took my win, even though it was quite a bit less than I was hoping for.
Sounds good. So yeah, this one I'm kind of expecting the same thing to happen here. As we get closer to that planned announcement date, it just keep pushing up, and then just with how a lot of these stocks go, once they actually release the news, whatever it does initially, and then it will pull back. So that's the stock market for y'all. I mean, it's crazy to see something run off of great news and then just get hammered. But that's what you have to watch for. And I like to catch it the second time around. So when something pushes up, for instance, the one I just talked about, BWAY, it's actually surprising that it didn't run harder than what it has. That's why I'm really watching it here. And if it would get beat down today, that's cool. That entry price, that breakout point, that's what I'll be watching, and I'll hit it on that second time around. So, oh yeah, really quick. Tesla earnings today after hours. So drop in the comments what you think Tesla's going to do. You think they're going to beat it, gap up, gap down? What is it going to do? Let's take a look at it on the chart. All right, so Friday we closed out at 729.40, and pre-market today we are up to 738.55.
Now I'm going north. I think it's going up.
I think it is also.
Yeah, I think we're going to. I'm not in it. I don't plan on getting in it. I'd like to, but I don't have the cojones to put enough into it to make it worthwhile. But I think it's going to have good earnings, and I think it's going to have a good run.
Let's see. All right, so that white line right there at 782.11 is a breakout point that I would like to see it get above, but I'm not going to play this either way, to be honest with y'all. I just don't like to trade in these PPS ranges right in here. I always do horrible. And with earnings, I am horrible with earnings. I literally, man, I say after the last 20 earnings things, call outs, I've never actually done earnings call outs because I suck at it. But I say the last 20 of them that I've done just jokingly, played around with, I've been wrong 19 times. So with this right here, me saying that Tesla is probably going to beat, Tesla probably be 200 points tomorrow downward with my luck. So when it comes to earnings, I cannot predict earnings. I'm horrible at it. And if I say something's going to beat, it's probably going to get destroyed. Like Elon Musk is probably going to go bankrupt.
All right, you want to take a look at a couple of tickers that are in the box?
Yeah, let's hit them.
One request is for WINT from the boss. He's asking about WINT.
Okay, so looking at their news really quick. So here it is on the daily chart. Let's see, looking at their news, they have a couple Form 4s over the last week or so.
He's asking if you think this is ready to bounce.
All right. And then a couple more Form 4s at the beginning of April. So I haven't had a chance to dig into those. So let's update short interest. 129,000 shares being shorted. Shares outstanding, 26.2 million shares. The float, 13.6 million shares. And just looking at this overall chart, I think what we'll probably see here, since we just had this gap down 1 month ago, is it's just going to kind of dance in this range between, let's see, actually let me change those colors. So with this gap down not happening too long ago, really a month ago, it's probably going to dance around between this range of we'll just say 270 down to about $2. We might break above 270 a little bit, but it's going to pull back down somewhere in the future, unless if they just have like an outstanding catalyst. But I'm willing to say that since this gap down just happened a month ago, any kind of catalyst news will probably happen later on in the future. So I want to see this thing run sideways. And again, I haven't really dug into this at all. But based off what I'm seeing and not knowing anything about their catalysts at the moment, I like to see this thing run sideways a little while longer. Maybe another, it'd be perfect if it would run about another 2 months. I know that sounds crazy, to look for something 2 months from now, but it runs sideways. We're in this channel for about another 2 months, and they actually have a catalyst on the horizon at that point. Because the longer it runs sideways without really doing anything, and they have a catalyst pending, the more it's like a coil that gets just tightened up. And when they release something, that's when it springs out and shoots up. So for me, a little too early for me to be jumping into this based off of what I just said to y'all. I like to see this just keep going sideways for a while, and then we'll revisit this one in the future. And this is ticker WINT.
I'm looking at some data news on it. It's I'm reading here. They filed a Track 1 prioritized application with the USPTO for a patent stemming from the application that's filed previously under the Patent Cooperation Treaty. Basically, they're asking for a 1-year review versus a 3-year review. And if they get that would mean good news for them or positive news. So to your credit, or to your point about watching this go sideways for a couple months, if this news was to pop, this could pop off its lows for a short play.
All right. When what was the date on that article or news right there?
It was April 19th.
Okay, so within 2 weeks. Okay. Yeah, so this one actually probably end up being longer than that 2-month prediction. So we'll have to see. It'll be one of those standbys.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see. Do we have anything else?
Yeah, someone's asking about BLNK. Actually, Becca Miller is asking about BLNK.
Stand by a second. Just looking up some information on it. All right. So last update for short interest, 13.8 million shares being shorted, 44.8% on the float, days to cover 1.6. Shares outstanding, we'll round it up to 42 million shares outstanding, and then the float will round it up to 31 million shares. So relatively a low float with a pretty high percentage of the float being shorted. So near half of it. And just looking at some news real quick. All right, so they have some, just glancing at some headlines, they have what looks to be a couple EV catalysts on the horizon or already in play. Currently at 38.10. So we're already above the TTBB breakout line, this yellow line right here, if you can see it on this daily chart. So let's see. So far, that is That indicator is correct. But what I would look for here, since we're already above that, is the break above 42.17 to start really getting into that breakout zone. Now, once we break above, this is obviously 4 points higher than that range I was just talking about. But once we break above this range right here, this peak at we'll put it at 46.60. So once we start to really break above that 46.60, which that's 8 points from now, this thing will probably test overall highs around 60 in general. As for breaking above that, who knows, to be honest. We could, we couldn't. It just depends on the stock market overall and how it's moving along with that sector as a whole. But we got to look at it right here at 38. Now, had this been brought up like sometime last week, it'd have been easier to find that bottom, find that breaking out point, just going off the TTBB breakout line right there. But we got to work with what we have at the moment, and we are sitting at 38. And so for me, I'm not in this, but if I was thinking about getting in this, I'd have to wait to see it break above that 42.17 for taking a smaller entry and then just letting it ride. So let's see. Other than that, yeah, that's the ranges for me. So 42.17, and then seeing what it does around 46.60. And then if we break above 46.60, we have that open range on up to 60 in general. If I was jumping in this down here and it happened to get up here around 60, I would not get greedy and try to see if it's going to create all-time highs again. With a move like that, it'd be stupid not to take profits. But
well, she posted that if it hit 60, that she was going to poop and fall into it, so she'd be happy.
But what's crazy, there are people who will take that risk. They'll have the best entry in the world, and they'll just get so greedy and want to see it create all-time highs, and not only create all-time highs, but go up another 100% above all-time highs, and they'll just keep holding it, and then something will happen, and in the end, they'll take an actual loss in the pockets. Happens every day.
Yeah.
So that is what I see for ticker BLNK. So, Todd, that is all I have for today. You have anything else?
No, nothing I want to cover today. There's a couple that we'll talk about. There's a couple tickers people have mentioned, but we'll cover tomorrow or Wednesday based on what's going on with them. So have a great day. Have a great Monday. Be careful. Be safe out there. Happy trading.
All right, everyone. So we appreciate y'all tuning in today. Again, y'all trade safe. It's the beginning of the week, and you do not want to start the week off wrong. So smaller position sizes, move your stop loss up, and don't be afraid to take profit when you have profit. So take care and trade safe, and we will see y'all in the next one.